We're not out there half-stepping. It's going to go fast. That's probably the biggest lesson I can tell you by experience. It is going to go fast. So be locked in.
Hey there, and welcome to Recruiting Masters Podcast, episode 1 of the new year, brought to you by the CFC Insider. I'm Katie Burt alongside Clint Uttley. Happy New Year, Clint.
Happy New Year, Katie.
How were the holidays? Did you get a chance to watch many of the bowl games?
Watched quite a few bowl games. Watched quite a few Canadians light it up in bowl games or make some big plays. It was a good holiday season.
And how about those NFL playoffs going on right now? Pretty crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff with 2 overtimes already, and it seems like the age of the 40-year-old quarterback is coming to an end.
I know, that era of that group of Brady, Peyton, Breeze, Aaron Rodgers,
Tony Romo, who's already out.
All those guys.
If there is a new crop, I think everybody has their idea of who it is, but not the same as that old crop. But it's not a good weekend for 40-year-old quarterbacks.
I'm not sad. I didn't want Baby Brady to win. Anyway.
Baby Brady, as you call him.
So we're going to get into this new year. We've got another pretty busy January with a few, 5 of our combines happening. The last bit before we make the decisions of the selection camp and who's going on to the next round of the CFC prospect game that is going to be broadcast on TSN. That's what these combines are for. But before we get into that, we will or have been released the final edition of the CFC 200 2020 ranking. There's 8 new players that managed to make their way on the list with their senior seasons. And you can check that out on CanadaFootballChat.com under the rankings tab. Clint, was there any shockers of this final edition?
No, not a lot of shockers. I mean, as this cycle went through, we expanded the list from 100 to 150 to 200, and we haven't had a real hard time populating the list. I guess my 2 biggest points are, one, if you're going to push your grad year ahead, okay, so you're going to post-grad or whatever you want to call it, could you please make sure to let us know? There was a number of good players, and there's 3 or 4 of that group of 8 that went back on were legitimate prospects last year who committed to a school and then for whatever reason returned to high school unbeknownst to us and possibly 3/4 of the country. So, I mean, if you're going to post-grad or if you're going to return for that grade 13 year in Ontario more specifically, make sure you let people know. And then just the other thing that kind of went up that influenced the list a little bit was there was a couple of kids way up on the list who've already reclassified. One thing that was shocking, there was a lot of kids who were at schools not inside of Canada who tooted their own horn about all these offers through the entire offseason. And then the early signing day come and went. And
nothing happened.
So I'm not sure what constitutes an offer anymore down in the States or what's going on with that. But, I mean...
We kind of are saying they're camp offers.
Yeah, they're camp offers, and the kids, obviously they love pumping their own tires on Twitter and stuff like that, and I get that. And most of those kids are actually really driven and really committed to their craft. Yep. And you don't see teenagers motivated like that. So I'll give them credit with that, but it was really bizarre. There was some kids who had like over a dozen offers who had nothing. Or it seems that way.
They dried up, yeah.
Yeah, and I sure hope that that's not the case and it kind of straightens itself up when it gets to the February signing date. And I hope that's just the case. But those were kind of the things that influenced the list was kids post-gradding. And there was a couple of kids who made our All-Canadian list who bounced on the list. And then there was a couple of kids who moved themselves forward a year by reclassifying. But those are the kind of the things that really heavily influenced the upcoming list.
So make sure to follow us on our Facebook page, Twitter @ChatFootball, and Instagram CFC_football, and also our YouTube channel for all of this content and more. So our event schedule, Friday, February 10th, we will be in Moose Jaw, and that's who we're talking about today. Clint, you'll be heading out there on Thursday, I think?
Yeah, Thursday morning, I think we fly into Regina, and then we're going to make our way up to Moose Jaw on the Thursday and kind of take a peek at the facility and just make sure everything's set up for Friday. So, yeah.
And this is exciting. This is our first time doing a combine in Saskatchewan, so we're pretty pumped about this.
Yeah, especially when you take into account the success of football Sask over the last few years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and if you go through we sold out the Moose Jaw combine, I think it was it Friday?
Recently, yeah.
Yeah, recently.
Last
So,
year,
there's the fact that we're selling out the combines. We've sold out every combine at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we were going through today just talking about some of the kids who registered for the Moose Jaw combine, and when we evaluate those lists before a combine, we look really at heights and weights because we are heights and weights and length snobs at CFC. So, I mean, we looked at that.
Let's clarify. You are.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. There isn't one recruiter out there.
Yeah.
If I put a 6'2" linebacker in front of him and a 5'8" linebacker in front of him, you know how that works. But
that's the hard truth.
There is some long, lean kids that are going to be in Moose Jaw.
Yeah.
And a big shout out to the guys from the two U Sports schools in Saskatchewan will be there, Regina and Sask. So they're coming to kind of observe and take part in the combine. So thanks to both those schools. So yeah, so I'm actually looking forward to it. It kind of is exceeded any expectations I had for our first time through that area. And I've never been to Moose Jaw, so I'm looking forward to getting a selfie of myself beside the big moose.
There is, and it is a huge moose. You're just not going to miss it. Well,
I don't know if I can take a selfie.
You can pretty much see it from from the Calgary or the Alberta border.
Katie, just because you're from Alberta.
Anyways, so the Moose Jaw prospects that we're going to be talking about, the first one is Lucas okay, I'm really going to butcher this name, so I apologize. Dan Kananowicz.
He's from Leboldus. Really good young defensive end from the class of 2021. Lucas.
You're taking over my job there, dude.
Well, you were butchering that name.
So he's 6'2", 210 pounds. He's extremely active. He uses his hands pretty good, I thought. He has good body lean, and his change of direction is pretty up there.
Yeah, you know what? Those kids from Leboldus, they seem to be coached well, and they seem to... You can actually... There's some high school teams you'll throw in the film, and you'll be like, what is going on? Not a lot, but the odd time you'll be like, what are they trying to do? Especially if you have a football background. When you throw in the Leboldus or even the Regina, this is Saskatoon as well, but like when you throw in the film, you can tell what they're trying to do. You can tell there's some scheming going on. But yeah, he did a really good job. He was getting upfield and changing direction, and he had the ability to shuffle and bend and play the backside of a boot contain or a reverse. So yeah, he did a really good job with that.
And then we've got a defensive tackle, another 2021 kid, Demit Arubibi. He's from Riffle, 6'2", 225. He's only apparently been playing 2 years from his profile that he's done with us online. He said in those 2 years he's had 6.5 sacks, 55 tackles, and a forced fumble. He was also named Rookie of the Year for his team at Riffle, so that's pretty good if you haven't been, some of these kids have been playing for 5, 8, 10 years. But he's a bit undersized. He's another effort guy. He has pretty good instincts. I thought he demonstrated good takeoff ability, and he gets into the backfield and makes some plays.
He certainly did. And you can build on that 6'2", 225-pound frame. Yeah, I liked him. He had a good takeoff. He had a couple of really nice clips on his film. Playing inside, I mean, you don't always... Obviously, he's going to have to put on weight, but yeah, 6'2", 225 is a really good starting point. Great takeoff. Works really hard to get to the ball, which seems to be a common theme with these Saskatchewan kids. They always seem to have an abundance of the right attitude and work ethic.
Yeah, they're pretty good that way. Cam Friesen is a CFC 100 2021 kid. He's the offensive lineman, a center specifically. He plays at Bethlehem. 6'2", 285. He played in the prospect game last year as an underager. He's a really good kid. He's tough. He loves to battle in the trenches. And I think that he might very well be one of the top, or if not the top center in his recruiting class. What do you think?
I'm a big fan of Cam. I watched him last year. He actually made the prospect game, like you've already mentioned. And where he won points with me was just how tough he was. Mm-hmm. He was tough. He played center, guard, tackle. He obviously is not built like a tackle, but he is 6'2", 285 pounds. But yeah, he played pivot or center in the prospect game and did a good job. And he's kind of he checks all the boxes when it comes to what you're looking for in a center. So he communicates well. He has a level head on him. He identifies things. So he had all that going on for him. And some of the competitive drive stuck out to me, but the other thing that really stuck out to me about Cam was when we got into those second rounds of tryouts last year, and even though he was an underager, he held his own, but there was a couple of really good defensive linemen he went up against. They beat him, but it didn't blow his mind. He just he took the coaching points and he reset, and then it was like next rep. So he has the ability to actually have a short memory, but also have a pretty solid football IQ. So he checks all the boxes with regards to center. So
he's really coachable.
Oh yeah, totally coachable. He just has that right attitude. Yeah. Like he's a football player.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then we've got Max Kennedy, he's a quarterback from Grinnell. When we did the CFC 25 small school rankings this year for the first time, we kind of opened our eyes to some of the lack of a better term, the smaller school programs, so kids we hadn't really looked at. And so Grinnell was one of those schools. So Max Kennedy's 6', 157. He's a lefty. He's got pretty good scrambling skills. He was previously a baseball player, a pitcher. So that's probably transferred over at some capacity. We love those multi-sport athletes. He's a little undersized, but he's a playmaker. He shows that he can move the pocket and extend plays with his feet. And I just thought he also made some impressive throws. He
did obviously 157 is a little bit light, but I'm sure he'll put on weight, especially if he's an athlete. I'm on the same kind of wave you are with regards to he moved around, he made some plays, he made some impressive throws. It'll be interesting to see how he does against maybe some better competition, or maybe he's just that good because, obviously a lot of what we gauge our evaluations off are the combine scores, which we'll see with him, and film watched, right? So obviously he did extremely well where he was at last year. So but he is one of the kids we made a note of. Let's keep an eye on him and see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Our next kid is a receiver, another 2021, Max Polishchuk. He's at Sheldon Williams. He's 6'1", 185 pounds. Predominantly, he's a receiver, but he also plays defensive back. He says he runs a 4.6 40. So we'll see what that is when he's actually there. He has a nice frame. He made some impressive catches. He demonstrates he can get open. He can catch some balls in traffic.
Yep, he did that. I liked him just off his length, and he seemed to have a feel for the game. And he did. He made plays on both sides of the ball. And you know what? At 6'1", 185 pounds, if he lines up and runs 4.6 and broad jumps 10.6, I'm sure everybody's going to know who he is probably by the end of the week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'll be a fun one to watch. Our next one's the CFC 100. We're very familiar with him, Rhett Vavra. He's another receiver. He goes to the Swift Current. He's a 2021 kid, 6', 155 pounds. Now, he was right on the bubble last year of making the CFC prospect game. So he is a great prospect. He loves running routes and one-on-ones, according to him, or any drill that gets the ball in his hands. In his profile, he compares himself to the cheetah, Tyreek Hill.
The cheetah.
So we'll see about that. But he's athletic, he's a quick receiver. And last year, I believe he had the top T-test at the Combines, which was, you believe it was 399?
Pretty sure it was 399. I think all his test scores were impressive last year.
He's really athletic.
That one really stood out, though. He was right there on the cusp. It just happened last year that there was a bunch of receivers, and he might have been a little faster and a little quicker than some of the other guys, but they were all like 6'1", 6'2", like 190 pounds. But also, he was a year ahead of his. But yeah, he had some unbelievable test scores last year.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch and see how far he gets this year. Jackson Isaac, he's a tight end, a 2020 kid, also from Sheldon Williams, 6'6", 230 pounds. Obviously, off his measurables, he's a big, tall, long athlete, and as you all know at CFC, we love height and length. On his film, he does play multiple positions, including quarterback, but just off his measurables, he's a prospect to watch.
Oh yeah, totally. He really jumped out. Just off when you see the measurables, you're like, what? 6'6", 230. let's watch this. And then he played, like you said, he played multiple positions. He was okay at all of them. But I would be really interested to see how he tests in the combine and see where he projects as a player. Because he can't teach 6'6", 230.
No. And he's obviously athletic.
Yeah.
So we've got Ashton Brandt. He is a quarterback at Riffle, a 2020 kid within the senior year, 6'2", 195 pounds. He actually made our notable performances article for 3 of the weeks. So he is a legit QB prospect, and definitely one of the ones that we're going to keep our eye on for this combine.
Yeah, I'm interested to see him and Kennedy, and we'll see where Jackson ends up playing. But at this point, I mean, there was a couple of quarterbacks who impressed in Calgary and Edmonton. And now we're hoping to see 2 or 3 from Saskatchewan. So yeah, it's going to be a cool year in the West to see. I mean, we only picked 4 of the quarterbacks for the prospect game. So, but it's shaping up like there's like 6 alone in Western Canada. And he, like you said, I mean, he jumped out to us a couple of times on his stats during the season. So. And
then we've got Blaze Cameron. He's a running back, a young kid, 2023. From Redvers School. Now, I've never heard of that school, but we're going to see what this kid can do. He's 6'4" and 200 pounds.
Yeah. Well, the thing you always see with that is, like, if you're playing running back...
We had no film on him.
No, we couldn't find any film anywhere. And you got to remember, he's class of 2023. So that means he's just went into grade 9.
At 6'4".
At 6'4", 200 pounds. So that's why this is so intriguing to us. And generally, when you're in like pre-high school, so say he's grade 8, grade 9, I don't know, whatever. If you're in like junior varsity and you're playing running back on your JV team, you're probably the best athlete on your team.
Yeah.
So if he's in grade 9 and he's the best athlete on his team and he's already 6'4", 200 pounds, I will be really interested to see, because if he tests well with that frame, it'll get really interesting for him.
It's probably going to be one of his first combines, if I make that assumption.
Yeah, and we're all going to have to figure out where Redvers School is.
Yes, you can tweet us where that school is.
And you'll never forget the name Blaze Cameron. That's a solid Twitter handle right there.
Yeah, there you go. Then we got Max Coulson, 2021 offensive lineman, tackle specifically, goes to, I believe they're the Central Cyclones. He's 6'5", 245 pounds, and I mean, you had me at that. Like, they're just immeasurable. So we'll see what he can do. I haven't actually watched any film on him.
No, when you see young tackles, so usually when you throw on a highlight film, you'll be like, okay, he's a young tackle. Film's not that good. Can't really tell. But he's the young tackle, and he's playing, like, if he's playing the left spot, so he's playing left tackle and he's young and he's 6'5", 250, at that point, you just got to stay on them for 2 or 3 years to see how they fill out and how they turn out, because I'm sorry, I don't know. I mean, we go back and forth across the country, and I can probably tell you there's maybe 30, 35 offensive tackles who are 6'5" in like all of Canada.
And are actually like legitimate
tackle prospects.
Yeah.
You know, where I would probably say 80% of the linemen in Canada who fall in that 6'5" to 6'3" range, who fall in that like 280 to 300 pound range, probably will project as guards at the next level.
Yeah.
But like, I'm always intrigued when a young tackle is in the 6'5", 245, because it tells me 2 things. His levers are really long, and he hasn't put on bad weight yet. So always intriguing when we run into those ones.
And then we've got Charlie Parks, a defensive end, also there's a lot of kids from Sheldon Williams on here. Huh, that's interesting. 2022, 6 foot, 3.5, we're going to say 6'4", 210 pounds. He said he reached a bunch of personal bests this past off season. So, I mean, if he's doing that, it means he's serious. He's in the weight room training. Another decent sized defensive end who seems to understand the game and uses his hands well.
You know what? They all seem to do that, and they all seem to have the same frame. I don't know if they got some sort of cloning program going on in Saskatchewan, but like, seriously, there's like, I don't know how many defensive ends I ran into who were like 6'3", 210 pounds. So, but I mean, there's probably a surge in interest in football right now in Saskatchewan right now, because everybody loves the CFL in Saskatchewan.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 university teams have always recruited well, and they recruit well with their homegrown talent. So, and they have up and down years, and, you know, maybe one of them's a little better than the other one right now, but like they always seem to be out and about, and the kids make a priority to go to university, or they have the option anyways.
Yep.
So, and then their provincial team's done well wherever it's gone the last little bit. So, I mean, and you know what? As much as you want to say it, and they probably get sick of hearing it, when you go and talk to kids from Western Canada, it's a little easier than it is in some of the other parts of the country. And they just seem to have maybe a touch more grounded, and they seem to have a work ethic that's, a little more old school. So,
Yeah, old school is a good way to put it.
And that's not taking away anything from any kid
From the other kids.
who gets up early and goes and trains, or goes right after school and goes and trains, and is uber passionate about something as a teenager right now, because there ain't a lot of that going on.
There isn't.
So, and when football gives that to a young person, I think that's awesome. And you see it a lot with these kids. I'm really interested to get to see what goes on in Moose Jaw. We'll be bringing our other combine champ with us, Jerome Erdman. So me and him will both take a long, hard look, and we're gonna have the two schools from Saskatchewan there helping us out. So it's going to be a really good event. I'm pretty excited about it. It's actually it's exceeded my expectations. And even going down, looking at some of the kids I really wanted to see, that's exceeded my expectations. So I'm super pumped about this.
And we got one last one before we close out here, is another offensive tackle, Cash Cuthbert, CFC 100. He plays at Weyburn, 6'4", 275 pounds. He played in the Fox 40 Prospect Challenge last year in BC. But, you know, again, another big kid, long levers. I'm curious to see how he's developed over this last year. He was quite young last year. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he tests, and it'll be interesting to see, because he has the frame, obviously. That's one of the things that jumped out to us when we were watching him like 2 or 3 years ago. And then we got to see him with some of the other kids in his class, and we're like, oh, maybe he's not as feisty as we would like to see or physical, but he has all the other stuff. So hopefully he's kind of rounded out that, what's the easiest way to say it? Cash, hopefully you got a mean streak, and you start putting people down into the ground. So other than that, though, he demonstrated some positive things, though. At the FPC.
And he's a good kid.
He's an awesome kid.
He's a really good kid.
Just gotta train like a champ and get a bit of a nasty streak, and he's going to be one of your prototypical Saskatchewan linemen that everybody line up for, and who seem to make the CFL more so than any other province.
So that's it for us today. We're really pumped to get out to Moose Jaw and see what you Saskatchewan kids have got for us. And then we were in Burlington, and we've got one in Vancouver, White Rock. One thing about that combine is that the time and the location has changed. So make sure you go on the website and look at that for Vancouver. It's in Surrey now. And also we have Montreal and Winnipeg to go.
Which the one in Montreal's kind of picked up a fair bit of steam, and then the one in Winnipeg is always solid. I know last year was the first year, so I shouldn't say always, but the one that the first round went off really well, the second round went off extremely well.
Yeah.
And I know Coach Dobie hates me saying it, but there's really good football players in Winnipeg, and I don't think schools spend as much time as they should. And I'm sure the University of Manitoba doesn't want them there. But there are some really good prospects.
There are some great prospects there.
There are some solid prospects. Yeah. And you know what? They do a really good job with some of the academies there with regards to like their off-season training. Yep. And the kids actually, they know how to train and they know how to compete. So there are some great kids at all the combines.
Yep.
So it'll be super interesting. As soon as we're done those combines, we're going to look at getting the invites out as fast as we can. And then just to echo your point you made about the Vancouver, has been moved to South Surrey. We did that simply because of weather. It may have knocked off some people's time.
So now it's indoors as opposed to outside.
Yeah, and we weren't going to mess around with that. And a lot of people will run stuff in BC and kind of roll the dice. And sometimes you get lucky, and sometimes there's no way I'm going to test kids who are trying to make it to the next round. And there's even the slightest bit of rain, or there's some extreme weather blowing in their face. So, and yeah, it's a really nice facility too. So, you know what? Take the afternoon off school. I believe it's a Friday afternoon, isn't it?
I think so.
Pretty sure it's a 17th.
Yeah, it is a 17th.
You know, so we'll have
12 to 3.
Yeah, we'll have some coaches out, and we'll do a really good job of running that indoors and giving everybody a really good shot of moving through to the second round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be a great one. So be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter at Chat Football, Instagram CFC_football, and YouTube. And don't forget to purchase for your CFC Insider membership, silver, gold, or platinum. For the new year, it will be a great maybe present that somebody didn't get. You could definitely go on and subscribe today for the access to the rankings, analysis, and daily football recruiting news across Canada. This has been the Recruiting Masters, brought to you by CFC Insider.